Latisha Brooks dragged her mop across the polished floors of NexTech Innovations. The hum of high-tech servers, a constant companion in the empty Silicon Valley night. At 35, her hands bore the marks of years scrubbing desks and wiping screens. Her Navy janitor uniform faded from countless washes. The building buzzed with innovation by day, engineers in hoodies coding breakthroughs, executives plotting billion-dollar deals. But at 2 a.m., it was hers alone. Tonight, February 25, 2025, she moved through the shadows of the fifth-floor hallway, past glass-walled offices filled with gadgets she'd never touch. The young tech prodigies who ruled this place mocked her during breaks, calling her mop lady, with smirks she'd learned to ignore. To them, she was invisible, a cog too small to matter in their machine. But Latisha carried a secret, one she'd buried deep, one that would soon turn their world upside down. The cold bit at Latisha's skin as she unlocked her cramped apartment in East Palo Alto. The faint glow of streetlights seeping through thin curtains. She dropped her keys on the table, exhaustion tugging at her, when her eyes caught an envelope, plain, unmarked, her name scrawled in ink. Frowning, she tore it open, and 2 sheets slipped out, a legal document and a handwritten note. Her breath hitched as she read the note. Latisha, you're the heart of NexTech. It's yours now. Henry Voss, the reclusive CEO who died last week, had left her something. The document was his will, naming Latisha Brooks sole heir to NexTech Innovations. Her knees buckled as she scanned the text. Full ownership, intellectual contributions recognized. She sank onto the couch, hands trembling. This wasn't just a job anymore. It was her empire. Sleep evaded Latisha as the will lay open beside her, its words burning into her mind. She'd met Henry 5 years ago, a chance encounter when she'd stayed late to clean his office. He'd caught her sketching algorithms on a napkin, math she'd taught herself from library books. "You're wasted on this mop," he'd said, half smiling. Over time, he'd encouraged her to email ideas anonymously, promising to shield her from the bias of NexTech's elitist culture. Her code had birthed their flagship AI, NeuroCore, but she'd stayed silent, fearing rejection. Henry had seen her potential, nurtured it in secret. Now, with his death, he'd handed her the keys to his kingdom. She traced his note, resolve igniting. Those engineers who'd laughed, they'd learn the truth soon enough. Dawn broke over Silicon Valley as Latisha prepared for her shift. She skipped the uniform, pulling on a jacket instead, the will tucked securely in her bag. At NexTech, the day hummed with arrogance, engineers bragging about bonuses, oblivious to the woman pushing a cart past their desks. Keepers, she'd overheard whispers of a board meeting tonight, a perfect stage for her reveal. During her rounds, she endured the usual taunts. "Hey, mop lady, missed a spot," but her mind was elsewhere. Each sneer sharpened her focus. She'd spent years coding in secret, her brilliance buried under their disdain. Tonight, she'd unearth it. As the clock neared 8, she paused in the restroom, splashing water on her face. "Poor you, Henry," she whispered. The time had come. The board meeting convened in NexTech's glass-walled conference room, a hive of suits and screens glowing with data. Preston Wells, the smug lead engineer, stood at the front, pitching a rushed sale of NeuroCore's patents. "Henry's gone. Time to cash out," he declared, his hoodie a badge of tech bro pride. Latisha slipped in, unnoticed, her cart parked outside. The board, 5 men and 2 women, nodded, eyes glinting with greed. She watched Preston mock her from afar, mimicking her mop with a laugh. The room buzzed with their plans to dismantle Henry's legacy, oblivious to her presence. As Preston wrapped up, she stepped forward, her voice slicing through the hum. "Not so fast." Heads turned, confusion morphing into smirks. Preston grinned.
"Oh, what's this?"
Janitor's union rep. Latisha didn't waver. She pulled the will from her bag, unfolding it with steady hands, and slid it across the glass table. "Read it," she said, her tone ironclad. Preston snatched it up, his smirk fading as he scanned the text. Silence fell, broken only by the hum of servers beyond the walls. "This says you own NexTech," he choked, his face whitening. "And you wrote NeuroCore?" Latisha nodded. "Every line of code." Henry kept it quiet. "Until now." Gasps rippled through the room. Some engineers recognized her email, alias, Shadow Core. Preston laughed, a brittle edge to it. You? A janitor? This is a scam. Latisha crossed her arms. Call your lawyers. It's real. Phones emerged, whispers turning to shouts as the truth dawned. She'd flipped their world. Panic gripped the boardroom as calls flew to legal teams. Preston's bravado crumbled, his hoodie suddenly childlike against Latisha's calm. A lawyer, Miss Carter, arrived in minutes, her heels clicking on the floor. She reviewed the will, then Henry's files, emails, code logs, all tied to Latisha's alias.
It's legitimate,
Carter said, handing over proof. Miss Brooks owns NexTech and authored its core tech. Preston's jaw dropped, the board slumping in defeat. Latisha stepped to the screen, pulling up NeuroCore's source code. Her code, "You mocked me while I built this," she said, her voice rising. "Preston Wells, you're fired. Anyone who wants to sell Henry's dream, follow him." Preston sputtered, but she cut him off. Out. With Preston gone, Latisha faced the stunned board. "This isn't about cashing out," she said. "It's about innovation for everyone." She outlined her vision: open source projects, diversity in hiring, a NexTech that valued brains over privilege, engineers who'd stayed clapped, some filming as Preston's exit hit Twitter. #Mop Lady rises trending fast. Customers lingered outside, tech bloggers buzzing with the scoop. Latisha handed Carter the will to secure her claim, then turned to her team. "We start now," she said, sketching plans on a tablet, her first as CEO. The room pulsed with new energy, a company reborn under a leader they'd never seen coming. Days later, NexTech hummed with change. Latisha fired 3 more execs tied to Preston's clique, promoting coders she'd mentored in secret, outsiders like her. She hung Henry's photo in the lobby, a tribute to his faith. The company unveiled NeuroCore 2.0, her latest work, to rave reviews. Downloads spiked overnight. Twitter erupted with #Queen, clips of her takeover going viral. Reporters swarmed, but Latisha kept it simple. "This is for the unseen." She opened labs to local students, tearing down NexTech's elitist walls. The empire she'd built from shadows now shone bright, a beacon of what talent could do when given a chance. Weeks later, Latisha stood by her office window, the Silicon Valley skyline twinkling below. The hum of collaboration filled NexTech, diverse voices brainstorming, screens glowing with her code. She'd kept her promise to Henry, turning his dream into reality. Preston had emailed, begging for a job, blacklisted after his fall, but she deleted it. She didn't need him. From a janitor scrubbing floors to the queen of NexTech, she'd proven her worth. As she traced Henry's name on the photo frame, Latisha smiled. The tech world had mocked her, but now they bowed. Her empire, her rules, her legacy.